In a small village in West Africa, surrounded by lush green hills and the sound of distant drums, there lived a woman named Amara. Amara was 38 years old, a mother of 4 beautiful children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Her days were filled with the usual routines of village life. She would wake up early to fetch water from the river, cook meals over a fire, and tend to her family's needs. But behind her warm smile and strong hands lay a deep, painful secret. Amara was married to a man named Emeka. On the surface, Emeka appeared to be a good husband, a hard worker, and a provider for his family. The villagers respected him, and many even envied Amara, thinking she had the perfect life. But inside the walls of their home, a different story unfolded. Emeka was abusive. His temper was like a storm that could strike without warning. He would yell, curse, and sometimes, when the anger overtook him, he would raise his hand against Amara. The bruises on her arms and face were hidden under long sleeves and scarves, but the scars on her heart were harder to conceal. For years, Amara endured this pain in silence. She didn't speak out. She didn't seek help. Why? Because in her village, leaving a marriage was seen as a failure, a shameful act that brought dishonor not only to the woman, but to her entire family. Amara often thought about what people would say if she left Emeka. They would whisper behind her back, call her weak, and maybe even blame her for the troubles in her marriage. But more than that, Amara stayed because of her children. She loved them more than anything in the world, and the thought of them growing up without a father, or worse, being separated from her, was unbearable. "I'm staying for them," she would tell herself over and over again, even as her body ached from the pain Emeka inflicted. Her eldest daughter, Ife, who was just 12, began to notice the tension in the house. She saw how her mother would flinch whenever Emeka walked into the room, how her smile never quite reached her eyes. One night, after hearing the sounds of another argument, Ife asked her mother, "Mama, why do you stay? Why don't we leave?" Amara looked at her daughter, her heart breaking. "Ife, my sweet child, I stay because of you and your brothers and sisters. I stay because I want to protect you, to keep our family together." But deep down, Amara knew that staying was slowly destroying her. She prayed every day for Emeka to change, for the storm in their home to pass, but the storm only grew stronger. One evening, after a particularly violent argument, Amara felt a sharp pain in her chest. She tried to brush it off, thinking it was just the stress. But the pain grew worse, and by the next morning, Amara could barely stand. She collapsed on the floor of their small home, her children crying out in fear. The villagers rushed to help, but it was too late. Amara's heart had given out, weakened by years of abuse and silent suffering. She passed away, leaving her children behind, their eyes filled with tears and confusion. At her funeral, the village gathered to mourn. Emeka stood by the grave, his face a mask of sorrow. He spoke about how much he loved his wife, how he would miss her every day. But those who knew the truth could see the emptiness in his words. Less than 6 months after Amara's death, Emeka remarried. His new wife was a young woman, barely older than Amara's eldest daughter. The village buzzed with gossip, but Emeka didn't care. He moved on quickly, leaving Amara's memory behind like a forgotten dream. Amara's children were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. Ife, now the eldest woman in the family, took on the role of caregiver for her younger siblings. She was determined to honor her mother's memory, but she also vowed never to make the same mistake. She promised herself that she would speak out, that she would never let fear or shame silence her voice. The story of Amara became a tale that the village elders would tell for generations. It wasn't just a story of sadness, it was a lesson about the dangers of silence, about the cost of staying in a toxic situation because of what others might say. The elders would gather the young women of the village and tell them, "Your life is worth more than what people will say. Speak out, seek help, and never let fear or shame keep you trapped." Amara's story also became a call for change. Slowly, the village began to change its views on marriage and divorce. Women were encouraged to speak up if they were in abusive relationships. The community started to offer support rather than judgment to those who needed to leave dangerous situations. In the end, Amara's life, though filled with pain, wasn't in vain. Her story helped others find the courage to stand up for themselves, to protect their lives and the lives of their children. And though she was gone, her spirit lived on in the lessons she left behind. As the sun sets over the village each night and the stars begin to twinkle in the sky, the elders remind the young ones of Amara's story. They remind them that silence can be deadly, but speaking out can save lives. And they hope that by sharing her story, they can prevent another woman from suffering the same fate. So, let Amara's story be a beacon of hope and strength. Let it be a reminder that no one should endure abuse in silence, and that true strength lies not in staying but in having the courage to leave. Thank you for watching this heart-wrenching yet important story of Amara. If stories like this resonate with you and you believe in the power of sharing these lessons, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. By doing so, you help spread awareness and empower others to speak out against silence and abuse. Together we can make a difference.